Let me start with this. Markets don't break at the top. They go quiet. And right now, the S&P 500 isn't screaming danger, it's whispering complacency. Bank of America just sent a signal most investors completely missed. Not panic, not a crash call, a rotation call. And if you're still hiding inside the index, you're standing in a crowded trade with one exit door. Let me show you what's really happening. The S&P 500 problem. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The S&P 500 is expensive by almost every valuation metric that matters. Not slightly stretched, historically stretched. Market cap to GDP, price to book, price to cash flow, enterprise value to sales. On 9 major measures, valuations are higher than the dot-com peak. Now people say, yeah, but these are better companies. That's true, but valuation doesn't care how nice the house is. It cares what you paid for it. This index is priced like rates are about to disappear and growth is guaranteed.
Neither assumption is safe. And this is the key shift. This is no longer an index market, it's a positioning market. Why buy the index is failing. For years, passive investing worked because liquidity was rising. You didn't need timing. You didn't need precision, just exposure. But now, passive funds dominate the float. Pensions and institutions paired S&P exposure with private equity and private credit. That's a barbell, and barbells snap when liquidity tightens. If private markets stall, selling doesn't trickle, it hits all at once. That's why this isn't a run signal. It's a be selective signal. Where the rotation is going, 2 sectors stand out, not because they're exciting, because they're mispriced. First, healthcare. Healthcare is trading like a defensive afterthought, but fundamentals are improving. Earnings revisions are rising. Valuations are reasonable. Demand is structural, not cyclical. Think of it like ballast on a ship in rough water. It keeps the hull upright when everything else is rolling. Second, real estate, written off because of rates, ignored because of headlines. But here's the shift. If rates stop rising, not fall, just stop rising. Cash flows stabilize and yield matters again. These aren't momentum trades, they're repricing trades. The AI tension. Here's what nobody wants to talk about. AI has powered earnings growth. The consumer has powered demand. But what happens when those two forces collide? AI doesn't just create productivity, it removes labor demand. Professional services, white-collar roles, high-income consumers. If AI adoption outruns job creation, consumer strength cracks. That's why discretionary and communications are under pressure. This isn't fear, it's math. Technology isn't dead, but it's no longer a one-way trade. What this market is really saying, let me be clear, this is not a crash call. This is a regime shift.
From broad exposure to precision positioning, from narratives to levels, from momentum to relative value. This is the kind of market where patience beats prediction. Final takeaway. Here's the bottom line. The S&P 500 isn't broken. It's fully priced. The opportunity only isn't owning the market. It's owning what the market is mispricing. Healthcare, selective real estate, selective technology. This isn't about being bearish. It's about being selective when everyone else is lazy. That's where real money gets made. Stay sharp, stay patient, let the market show its hand.